Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Sports with Sadachi and Friends live stream of F1. Today, we have a power pack session. Isn't that right, Aniket? There are a lot of topics to discuss. It's been a crazy
Yeah, I
weekend.
think we were off for a few days. We were just monitoring the situation in the world of Formula One. And then we were
Yeah,
bombarded with one news after the other. And
yeah,
now we have so much to talk about. So excited for this show. And let's get
yep,
the ball rolling. Let's start off with the good things first. And then we can start off with another race on our hands later.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So, if you guys remember, last week we recapped Monaco and we saw yet another race winner this year, the fourth race winner in Charles Leclerc at Monaco. And there was a lot of optimism. Honestly, the race was boring as hell. It was just a procession, especially after the red flag. Everybody changed their tires, and you had freaking George Russell going 78 laps on mediums. But but at least you saw a different race winner, and Verstappen was fifth, right? But yeah, so now we are before another race weekend. Montreal is scheduled to start free practice in 20 minutes from now. However, before we go to Montreal, there has been a lot of announcements this week, as Aniket was mentioning. And we're going to start with the biggest announcement of them all. Finally, just finally, F1 has announced the 2026 regulations, right? It's going to be, initially it was thought just going to be like new engines and fuel, but these are again comprehensive new regulations, right? Everything has changed, right from aero to engines to no DRS, right? While I pull up the bullet points, Aniket, what do you think?
I mean, definitely F1, does this thing where every 4 years they keep changing the regulations, right? We saw it at the end of 2021, and now we're going to see it again at the end of 2025. So initial impressions are definitely the cars look much different than they are now. I think they're definitely a little smaller than a little less in terms of the width as well, compared to the cars we have right now. So they're trying their best they're trying the best which they can in terms of overtaking possibilities as well. And the aero is different. They've removed DRS, as you said. So they're trying their best to keep the pack close, but it all depends on which team again develops the best chassis. At this point, as we saw, with Red Bull dominating the initial parts of this year's or this generation of cars. So again, it'll
Right.
come down to who develops the car. At this point, the best in terms of the chassis and the engine as well. So I mean,
Yeah.
you can bring up the key updates, and you can bring up the power unit updates as well in terms of the fuel and how
Yeah.
carbon, in terms of the F1's goal of going net neutral and carbon emissions and all that. So you can bring up those points, and then we can talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. So let's start with the power unit. So we are having the hybrid unit is getting more importance this time, right? Apparently it's going to be what 50-50 between a battery and a combustion engine. And like it says, there's a 300% increase in electrical power. There's 100% sustainable fuels. And of course, we have six power unit suppliers from 2026. We have
Yeah.
Ferrari, Mercedes, Renault, Red Bull powertrains, Honda, and Audi. So a lot of, yeah, hopefully we get better competition with this. And obviously we have more energy recovery from braking. We have, so this is a big thing, right? We
Yeah.
have manual ride mode where we've gotten rid of DRS. Um, I mean, I'm happy that DRS got rid. It felt like a cheat code sometimes, but obviously it remains to be seen. If we just get more boring races, if you get 24 Monacos a season, then it's obviously going to be a big failure. But yeah, I mean, obviously we'll see how the manual override mode works. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of changes in the power unit, right? And if you go back key updates, yeah, 100% sustainable fuel. And yeah, let's go to the chassis, right? And so the cars are slightly narrower, I mean, by 100 centimeters. Is that no? Sorry, 10 centimeters? Yeah, 10 centimeters. Big deal. And the wheelbase has been reduced by 20 centimeters. Great, but the car is also lighter. It's down 30 kilos. But I mean, there's been some confusion. I don't know. You'll have to check on this, but it says that even though the cars are lighter, it doesn't include the weight of the battery, so the overall car weight might not be too different. I don't know.
Mm.
At least they're trying to. I mean, at least F1 is hearing the criticisms, right, of all the folks over the past few years saying, "Hey, the cars are heavy, the cars are big, we can't race in Monaco." Monaco probably needs in go karts, but yeah, at least 30 kilos lighter. But I think this is the interesting thing, and obviously tires width has been reduced. That's another big change. We've had some chunky tires over the last decade in F1, so yeah, that's going to be something new. But yeah, I think this is the big one. I guess we're going back to reducing downforce. Uh, and I
Yeah,
don't believe drag by 55%. I really don't buy any of this bullshit. But downforce, man, like the whole point of the 2022 regulations, right, with the ground effect rules was that cars stick to the road more, they go faster, and we have more exciting overtakes because cars are more stable and blah 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 blah. And now we're back to, oh no, you know what? Fuck it, never mind. You said all that. We're going to reduce downforce and all these things. So yeah, it's the rules have been very controversial. But before we get to that, Aniket, what do you think about this? I don't know. I feel cautiously optimistic slash pessimistic, but I don't know, man.
yeah. I mean, if I want to look at it as like positive for the sport. I want to take it from that perspective. I'm
Yeah,
in agreement with what the changes, what the different changes that the F1 fraternity is trying to do, or the FI is trying to do in terms of getting, making the cars smaller, as well as in terms of trying to improve the overtaking opportunities. We also have a lot of complaints from drivers that they're not able to follow other cars closely. I mean, DRS reliance is so much that getting get overtaking cars with DRS is a different challenge in itself. So once we get to 2026 and we see no DRSs and cars being able to overtake each other, is then when we can put the utmost confidence that these rules have kind of shifted the trajectory in F1, where there's no more reliance on getting that extra downforce, or getting that extra straight line speed
mm,
through opening the rear wing. So
right.
that is good. It'll be different. It'll be something of a different side for us to see cars being 1 second within each other and no rear wing opening and still able to overtake
Oh
each
yeah,
other. So that'll be
that,
fun.
that,
That'll
and
take
it's
us
definitely
back
going.
to the olden days.
He's definitely going to get. He's going to be getting some used to because he's so used to cars getting within 1 second, getting to the pit straight, and the wing opening, right?
Yep. So that is going to be different. That's going to be a positive aspect. That I mean, F1 is kind of going back into time. So, but apart from that, I mean, I don't think we are the most technical people to comment a lot. I would say more than what we have on these changes. Maybe we'll get someone who's more like who's an expert on these kind of changes, which and get them on the show and talk more about them, probably in another detailed video, and see what
Yep.
we can break down even further. But our initial impressions are at least my initial impressions is that let's look at it positively. But it
Right.
also speaks to the different it also speaks to F1's ever growing or ever changing sports dimensions, right? That every 4 years we need a rule change to make the sport exciting. So an important question is that we can raise here is, why can't F1 be consistent for say 5 to 10 years and not go for a rule change every 4 years to get back or to close the field back up? So that
Yeah.
is another conversation we can have. But yeah, I think this we can wait till 2026 and see how it goes. At least we have something out now on paper which we can refer to and which the teams can refer to in terms of building their cars and again seeing who'll come out on top. So for the
Yeah.
fans, it's exciting to see firsthand what 2026 will look like, what those generation of cars will be. And now it's just for the 2026 season to come around and see the how the cars actually look,
Yeah. Yeah.
when we see them on television or
Yeah.
in live.
Yeah. Totally. And of course, even last time in when FI preview the new car in 2021, the final cars obviously look much different because teams will obviously optimize. Yeah, Adrian Newey is trying to extract every last second from the car. But the other thing, I kind of wonder is, so we say that, agile car concept, blah, 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 promoting closer, more exciting racing. But I only hope that, if let's say the first few races we actually see, racing being closer, I hope that the FI just, commits to it because, in 2022, when the ground effect era started, right, we saw some really close racing, right? If you remember the first Bahrain Grand Prix in 2022, we had very close races. We had a lot of overtakes, and the initial few races that were exciting track action. We had Ferrari and Red Bull going at it. Mercedes, not Mercedes, who are the team?
Aston
Yeah, who it
Martin.
was?
Aston Martin.
Aston- Yeah. So, but then what happened? Obviously cars are also bouncing around because of ground effect, right? And even though we saw over the season the bouncing starting to kind of pare down, Mercedes could never figure it out, and the race is staying Toto Wolff. And FI eventually just relented and raised the ride height, right, a bit, kind of defeating the purpose. And we saw that that kind of nullified some of the gains made in following, right. It increased the amount of dirty air, and we have seen lower overtakes ever since. So I mean, obviously some of it is physics problem. There's going to be dirty air coming out of a car going 200 miles an hour, but I think FIA should kind of also not bow down too much to team pressure. I think Mercedes thought, if the car starts bouncing, they'll be ahead of the field again, and I mean, they're still waiting for that. But but yeah, and also being criticism, right, around this new active aerodynamics, right? There's still not much clarity on what it entails, and there have been reports that that hey, teams are not too happy. They're still discussing these new rules, and yeah, let me get the stream out of the way. But there's been criticism that hey, teams are still kind of discussing and debating the final points of these rules, and FI just went ahead and announced these rules on Wednesday, and now we haven't seen speculation as to who that they won't say, but there are Twitter accounts who kind of predicted that the regulations are going to launch on Wednesday, saying that two teams are even considering pulling out of the um, series altogether, right? So it's definitely a very tense situation right now. Um, like Active Aero, one second, I saw something on Active Aero as well. So some driver, I think it was, yeah, it was, yeah, Lewis Hamilton, said that the cars are very slow, right? I mean, 8 seconds slow or something. Now, obviously, I mean, maybe we get closer racing with slower cars, right? Because there's a bigger overlap. But yeah, it's definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we always get a threat like this from one or the other teams, right? At the beginning of a rule change. I think we saw it like in 2014 as well when the hybrid cars came out and there was a couple of threats from some teams. So definitely we get all this nonsense, at this point. But I don't think any team will back out from F1. It's very difficult to back out unless you really don't have a choice, and that generally comes from the team's sponsorships and all those kinds of different attributes. But I don't see any team backing out, especially when there's an opportunity to be good in F1 if you get your car right. And obviously, it's not like before when you can actually start working on your car like 2 years before, like how Mercedes did back in 2012 itself when they started preparing for 2014.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so teams have to start preparing for their car from next year itself. Every team gets the same amount of time. So
Mm,
I'm sure every team will definitely relish this opportunity. They're going to enjoy it. They're going to work hard and they're going to try to get the best car which they can create for 2026. And I mean, no team will back out because we have teams wanting to come in and replace some teams. So there's a
yeah.
lot of competition now to keep your team, in Formula One. So that in itself is a privilege.
Yeah, I think it's more just, probably teams angry that their preferred regulations, didn't go through. Like, there are also reports that, so, I mean, we have increased energy recovery from braking, correct? And it's 2x versus the current generation of cars. And, but they're also saying that, they could have had even more regenerative braking if they added to the front axle, but apparently teams lobbied against that because Audi, who's a new manufacturer coming in 2026, uh, they already do front axle regen braking in the endurance racing series. WEC, I think, and teams were worried that Audi would have an unfair advantage, so they just lobbied against having front axle region braking, which is so classic F1, man. Like,
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I mean, there's gonna be like all these kinds of little skirmishes in terms of the teams, big teams wanting some things which the small teams might, big teams not wanting something which the small teams might want, and so on. So definitely, teams like Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes will have a larger say in the rules compared to smaller teams like a Williams or an Audi coming in. So
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
think that's all for 2026 rules. We've got it finally, and we can. I think we can have many more discussions on this topic
yeah,
in the coming months. We have a lot of
right.
time for it. We're going to see cars,
And also, yeah,
and I
we'll see
believe
more details fleshed out as well over the next few months.
definitely, and we'll probably see like digital images of 2026 cars, in this year, by next year at this time. So looking
Right.
forward to that as that. I'm looking forward to it and seeing how the teams come up with those kind of
Yeah,
generations of cars.
yeah, totally. And also, it's also funny, like every regulation season, period. You have fans saying, "Oh, we should do this. F1 get more exciting. Oh, you do this. F1 get more exciting, right? Oh, we need more downforce. Oh, we need less downforce. Oh, we need bigger cars. Oh, we need smaller cars. Oh, we need wider rear wings. Oh, we need narrow rear wings." That equals those ugly 2010 era cars. Those narrow rear wings, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's. I mean, that's always there. But I think something also interesting with Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of Formula One Management, Form, said that F1 may not need batteries anymore, which is a bold statement since you're increasing the role of the battery in 2026, right? You have 50% of power coming from batteries, you have a more powerful hybrid thing. They've also, I think, gotten rid of the MGU-HK, one of those things.
MGUH, yeah.
Yeah, they completely gotten rid of that. And then you have Stefano saying, "Oh, we might not need batteries anymore," right? Like on one side, you have F1 apparently kind of. I mean, there have been rumors that once Formula E's exclusivity runs out, so they have an exclusive agreement with the FIA that only they can race 100% electric cars.
Electric.
And there'll always be these reports that F1 may want to go fully electric when Formula E's agreement expires because electric cars may just get better in another 10 years. But what does Dominicali say today? The year 2026, the day 2026 regulations get announced. Oh, we may not need batteries anymore. We have 100% sustainable fuels, so we can just do away the battery completely next time. I mean, from your lips to God's ears, Dominicali, but maybe we'll just see early 2000 racing again. Maybe we'll have Ferrari having a fire down this finally.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely the way for the future, and F1 is definitely moving towards that. And 2030 is when they're targeting for the zero carbon or something like that, correct? In terms of the carbon emission
Net
program and
neutrality,
stuff, net neutral carbon emission. That's what they call it.
right?
So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yep, yep. And yeah, so that's it about the 2026 regulations. So let's move on to the other paddock news over the past week, since we last saw you guys. So yeah, let's start with the biggest. Let's start with the biggest driver contact announcement, right? No, it's not Sergio Perez. Esteban Ocon is confirmed to not race for Alpine next year.
I think that was
They,
coming after Monaco, but
yeah, they,
in seriousness, it was definitely coming for a while, and Monaco probably accelerated that process. So it'll be interesting to see Esteban Ocon in terms of where he goes. He's going to have definitely interest in him. He is an
yeah,
F1 driver. He is kind of a midfield driver at this point in his career. So we're going to see some teams try to lobby him up, try to give him a seat next year. So we'll
man,
see
but
how that goes. Yeah.
at one point, Esteban Ocon was considered as the next big thing, right? Along with Max Verstappen, Leclerc, and all these guys. Uh, it's
Yeah,
interesting,
I
right?
think
Like,
that he's been represented by Toto Wolff as well, in
yeah,
terms of his management. So I think he started off as a Mercedes reserve, and then went to
right.
Renault, and then Force
Yep.
India, Alpine. So It'll be interesting to see where he lands up next. He has got strong representation as well. So in terms of Total Wolf and stuff, definitely he's going to be there in F1. But as you said, he was definitely supposed to be a bright kid, in F1. But does seem like that his stock has plummeted quite a bit, especially this season after different kinds of tussles with his teammate as well as poor performances. So uh, definitely a team like Haas or even Audi may have interest in him, giving him a seat for 2025 or 2026 as well. So different
Yeah,
option he's going to have. So we'll see how that pans out for him.
yeah, he has spent most of his career at Renault, which makes sense. I mean, he's a French driver, right? He started his career at Manor, that yeah, that team that nobody cared about. Then moved to Force India, or Aston Martin, today's Aston Martin. And then he was a reserve driver in Mercedes, like you said, for a season, and then he came to Renault in 2020. Has been there ever since, along the Alpine rebranding. But I always thought that I'm also curious, how did his stock suddenly fall? I mean, before Monaco, right? Like if you see before Monaco, I mean, you'd probably think him and who's the other guy, Pierre Gasly, are kind of roughly the same, right? So where you go wrong, right? I mean, because there's always the thing that, oh, Gasly might just go to Renault, go back, try to get a seat back at Red Bull, right? If
Mm,
say Perez leaves, and yeah, we'll talk about that later soon. But if Perez and
yeah.
Max and guys leave, we always thought that Gasly might just go back to the Red Bull family, since he has been their academy driver, right? But yeah, I mean, we see. I'm very surprised to see Ocon. Did he even win a race? Uh, Ocon, did he win a race?
Ocon has never
Yeah.
won a race, but I'm sure he's.
No, no, he won. He won in 2021. He won. Yep, I remember.
Oh, he won the Bahrain Grand Prix, correct? No, 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 not the Bahrain. He won.
Not won it. He won. There was this. What is rain and on? I'm just trying to see.
Why don't I remember which Grand Prix he won?
He's trying to look it up. He won. Come on. Yeah, maiden victory at Hungary. Yes, the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Right, when Fernando Alonso held up Lewis Hamilton, and then Lewis Hamilton couldn't get through him, and
And
then
also
yeah,
like
I remember. That was 2021. Remember that race when Lewis was the only one who started on at on pole
yeah,
with nobody else behind him because everyone went to change their tires as soon as the
yeah, and
safety
Lewis
car went
didn't.
in.
And Lewis didn't, right? And we had like what? How many cars? I think 5 or 6 cars retired on the first corner.
Yeah,
Uh, and then, oh yeah, wasn't this a race that Vettel got disqualified too? But yeah, Hamilton started on Inters because he didn't pit for slicks, and then he pitted after 4 laps, and then yeah, Ocon went to the lead, and he stayed there.
not 4 laps. He pitted the next lap, but by the time it was too late.
No, it says that. Oh, sorry, after the fourth lap. Okay, right. Yeah, yeah. Next lap, but yeah, he was too late. Yeah, I mean, there's something about Mercedes and not pitting for tires, man. That's what they lost 2021 too. I know this
2021 is
Sunday,
different, but okay.
Abu Dhabi, Abu
That
Dhabi,
was a totally different. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that.
but yeah, I mean, if you look at Pierre Gasly, I mean, I always saw the, like, even if you look at last season, right? 2023, I mean, I guess, sure, Gasly had more points than Ocon,
Yeah,
but
I think it's just his reputation has taken a tumble for some reason as well.
yeah.
He's
Okay, fine.
he's
Gasly got 4 points more than Ocon last season, so not a lot, right? And this season they both have a point each. Yeah, I think it does it. Yeah, I think Ocon has seemed a bit more aggressive this season, right? And that has kind of led to his reputation taking a hit. And yeah, I think Monaco basically has kind of completely ruined his stock. Uh, yeah, and also, I mean, okay, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Ocon, but also, dude, Renault's team principal, Bruno Fama, he's not a fun guy at all in the first place, right? He kind of just fired, who was the guy, Otmar? last season, right?
Yeah,
Fired Otmar mid-season, put himself. He's in the car company at Renault. Put himself into the team principal. I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel he's the right guy for Alpine.
I agree. I think I think we've spoken enough about Alpine, so we should just move on to the next bit of
Yeah,
news.
totally. Yeah, generally don't spend a lot of time on the smaller teams, but
Yeah,
yeah. Let's move on to Perez. Of course, this is going to be the biggest discussion topic. So to recap, guys, Sergio Perez, or Checo as he's called, extended his contract with Red Bull to the end of 2026, right? So it's a 2-year extension. His original contract was ending at the end of this season, and he has extended by 2 years. And this caused a lot of debate in the F1, in the F1 generally. Among the fans, right? On Twitter, Reddit, and all these online. Because, especially with Perez's recent form, right? I mean, he started the season strongly, right? He had, I mean, Red Bull was just having one twos for fun at the beginning of the season. And then obviously Max had a couple of blips, but I mean, sure, he didn't finish Australia. He came second to Lando in what, Imola, right?
Miami.
Uh, Miami, sorry, yes, Miami. But Max has, still continued to win races, get podiums, right, and all of that except Monaco. Monaco, though, sure, Monaco was a bad race, but Sergio Perez has really kept up, right? He didn't clear Q1 at Monaco, right? He had a terrible, terrible weekend. People are saying that his career is over. He's going to be replaced with, I don't know, Liam Lawson or Kimi Antonelli or something in the middle of the season. They're like wild speculation going on. And what do you see? We see Perez being extended end of 2026. So what's going on? Do you think Red Bull made the right move? I guess.
I think Red Bull did not make the right move, but they made a safe move. They know what they have in Sergio Perez, so they've seen him for the past 3 years now, and they know what he's capable of on his best days is a second place behind Max, and that's what they need from a driver at this point. I think Red Bull have pretty much locked Max up for the next 3 or 4 years. I don't think Max, despite this high speculation from Mercedes, I don't think Max is leaving anytime soon. And that's the situation you have at Red Bull now. That's the reason why they are keeping Perez. They know about him, and they didn't want to risk that. That kind of a teammate situation where they have a number one driver and a number two driver clearly, and they didn't want to risk that by considering someone like a Carlos Sainz, who's definitely a better driver and a more competitive driver than Sergio Perez, and who would probably put up an equal fight to Max Verstappen in the same car. They didn't want that kind of situation, and probably they didn't want a driver like Daniel Ricciardo, who's pretty much had like a torrid start of the year. So I don't think they trust him at this point, and it did remain at the end that Sergio Perez was the best option, and
It
that's
was
the reason they pretty much locked him up again for the next couple of years.
Yeah, it was never going to be Ricardo. Let's be honest. He's been absolute trash. But I mean, yeah, somebody like Yuki Tsunoda, right? He's still young, still raw, right? I mean, the thing is that it's not just a drivers' championship, right? I mean, sure, Max will probably win the drivers' championship. I mean, sure, we are seeing some falls off with Ferrari and McLaren, right? Also, they were a bit different tracks that they won on. If you see a stand different track, Red Bull, like, Montreal this weekend, Red Bull, Max is probably running away with it. So, I mean, you still, most likely, you have Max locked in, right, for the driver's title for this season and next, right? The question is also with other teams getting closer, right? With your Ferraris and McLarens and even maybe Aston Martin and Mercedes, right? Like, I mean, Perez not being able to beat any of these guys, right? Any of these 14s. So this is a big risk for Red Bull in the constructors championship, right? I mean, so the driver sure wants to win the driver's title, but the entire factory wants to win the constructors title,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. I think it's a risk they are willing to take so that they can allow Max to have the competitive edge that he's having in terms of they want Max to definitely be the clear number one. They want Max to be breaking records in a Red Bull and not with another team. So
Yeah, totally,
that is the
totally.
reason. That's probably one of their reasons to keep Perez. I'm sure Perez definitely will come out of his bad form and will prove to be good. I think second half of last season as well. He was good. I think towards the end of the season, and that's what they are probably going to hope for him or hope from him. this second half of the season as well. So they are risking a constructors championship for another drivers championship, which some of the team, as you said, some of the factory might not agree to it because the factory is fighting for the constructors while they want to prioritize Max. But
Right.
it's still going to be a long shot for any other team to win constructors. It's obviously Perez's bad form that will lead to another team fighting for the constructors. So let's
Yeah.
see how it goes. I still think Red Bull are the favorites for both the championships, but now is there's vulnerable scenarios with the second driver. So definitely, if
Yep.
say Ferrari keep their consistency of McLaren, keep the consistency, they can take regular points of Sergio as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not just that, right? So, like, I mean, sure, Red Bull might think that, hey, second competitive driver might endanger Max, but Max is a generation talent, right? He's so far ahead of the rest of the field. I mean, like, okay, let's be honest, Red Bull is not getting Charles Leclerc or Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri to be in the second seat, right? But say you promoted somebody like Yuki Tsunoda, right, who's been in great form this season, right? He's probably still a number two, but at least going to be competitive, right? Like when you see, for example, and I think Max has kind of um, voiced his frustration in a roundabout way this season. And even last season, when when Perez was not keeping up, right? Like when you have a competitive team, when you're two competitive teams, following you in your Ferraris and McLarens, right? And we've seen every weekend there's at least one team that's who has both cars close to Max in the front. Now Red Bull cannot do strategies or do some rare cut action with the number two driver. Like we saw what Perez did in the beginning of the season, right? He would defend, right? Let Max drive off into the distance, and he would just hold the field behind him, right? But if you cannot do that, you suddenly have Lando Norris pushing Max Verstappen in the last lap of the race on shitty tires, right? Um, and that's what Red Bull also need from a number two, right? If you see any dominant header, right, of drivers, if you take Vettel, sure, Vettel's running on the big example. He really fought with Weber a lot. But if you see Hamilton, right, the second period of Hamilton with Bottas, right, or Schumacher with Barrichello, um, obviously none of these two drivers were ever as strong, right? But what they did was they would win the race if the lead driver had an off day, right? Bottas won the race. Bottas won many races when Lewis was having a bad day. Barrichello won races when Schumacher was having a bad day, and they're always second, third, or fourth, keeping the other drivers back. And there's I mean, Hamilton Bottas there's so many one twos, right? It just because the car is great, right? I mean, the car is better than every other car on the grid, right? So you just need two drivers to kind of put that car ahead of every other driver on the grid, and that's why win the title, right? So yeah, I think it's really. I mean, I can see where it was getting at. Maybe they want some stability. I don't know. Maybe a Horner likes Perez, uh, like how he likes Ricardo. Maybe he wants to be loyal to him. But Red Bull has historically not been the kindest with the drivers, right? I mean, sure, Perez got extended, right? But let's say I don't know. I mean, you can see a situation where the grid for 2025 is set, right? Perez continues to underperform, so they kick him out. And Red Bull always has a driver in the reserves waiting for the seat, right? So now Perez suddenly doesn't have a drive. And that's totally possible.
Yeah, yeah. I think like you summed it up pretty well. I don't have anything else to add. I think you went on longish kind of a rant. I mean, I wouldn't say the semi rant probably on why Red Bull probably made the wrong decision. So
Yeah.
I think they went for the safe bet. We'll see how it comes out. Whether they fumble the constructors because of that, or they still win it. So let's see how that goes.
I mean,
It's
I'll be totally happy with a fumble, hashtag to force. But but I mean, I'm obviously happy for Perez, right? He has a guaranteed drive till 2026, end of
yeah.
2026, and he was saying in the press conference today he wants to end his career at Red Bull, so he'll probably retire after this, right? So,
This
and
could
his future,
definitely be his last contract in F1. So you never know.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, definitely interesting. And yeah, we've also seen a lot of speculation on Yuki Tsunoda this week that he may leave, right? Especially with the Honda partnership ending this season. Um, I mean, obviously, Helmut Marko has tried to. quashed some of the speculation saying Sonoda is driving for RB in 2025. But again, it's Helmut Marko. He chants a lot of shit. Is Sonoda staying with the Red Bull family next season, Aniket?
I think it's like a coin toss at this point. He's definitely been pretty good this season, so he's gonna be in demand as well. In case he walks away from the Red Bull sister team.
Oh
So
yeah, there's only been speculation that Haas and Audi are kind of eyeing him. So
exactly, and I mean,
yeah,
if Aston Martin ever decide to get rid of Lance Stroll, this is a perfect opportunity. You have a Honda engine coming in. You might get a Japan. You would want a Japanese driver to
yeah,
enhance your fan base and keep Honda at arm at close comfort with you. So what's better than getting the Yuki Tsunoda, who's actually been so good this season? So
yeah.
he's gonna be an option for different teams definitely if he decides to leave RB.
Yeah, and also Aniket, to me, it just feels that a pairing of Alonso and Sonoda is like a match made in heaven. You have two hot-headed drivers who will, push anybody out of the track. Put these two in Aston Martin, let them loose on the field, and they're probably getting one-twos by just crashing all the other 18 cars out.
I guess definitely that's gonna be fun if that happens. Yeah.
Alonso will just break to the hell out of everybody. Yeah, yeah. Coming to last one, man. When will Lawrence Stroll realize that his son is not fit to be an F1 driver? Like,
As long as he's in charge of the team, I don't think Lance Stroll is going anywhere, unfortunately.
I
And that
mean,
means that a
it feels
F1
that
driver
even
who deserves a seat might not get it.
it even feels sometimes that even Lance Stroll doesn't want to race in that seat, but his dad is forcing him to. Like, like an Indian tiger mom saying, "Oh, you got to do engineering. You got to be an F1 driver."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I think obviously Sonoda. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, the speculation of Haas, Williams, and Audi. Because all have open seats now. Um, And talking of Williams, Carlos Sainz sensationally quashed speculation that he's going to Williams, which man, I really don't know what he's trying to do. Like this guy was holding out for Red Bull. Red Bull is like, we are the Mexican Minister of Defense, right? And obviously, oh yeah, I forgot to mention the other point of Perez also he brings in a lot of sponsorship money, so probably Red Bull wants it dough. But yeah, moving on. Uh, Mr. Carlos Sainz, right? Carlos Sainz Jr. He was holding out for a reunion with Max Verstappen. Red Bull closed the door saying, we are going to stay with Perez for two more seasons, right? I think he's still holding out hope on Mercedes, but at this point, it feels that Mercedes have told Kimi Antonelli that hey, if Red Bull doesn't blow their team up, you're getting a seat in 2025. Otherwise, it's Max Verstappen, right?
I think Kimi Antonelli is definitely getting that seat now.
Exactly, right. I mean, obviously, I
Yeah.
don't think Red Bull is stupid to. They'll probably fire Christian Horner before they let Max go away. I don't think the Guy family is going to back Christian Horner if Max is leaving, right? So now you have a situation where um, you know Carlos doesn't obviously he can't stay at Ferrari. He cannot go to Red Bull. He cannot go to Mercedes. He cannot go to McLaren. You have Oscar and Lando in long-term contracts there. You can't go to Aston Martin because Alonso is extended, and I mean Stroll is basically race driver emeritus for Aston Martin. And then you have Haas. I don't think he's going to Haas, right? So then you have Alpine, you have RB. RB obviously I'm going to RB, right? So you have Alpine, Williams, and Haas. These are three options right now. And wait,
Which feels very sad, right? Considering he's been so good for Ferrari this season. That you're left with
exactly.
Alpine, Williams, and Haas as your three options for next year.
And Sauber, right? So Alpine, Williams, Sauber, and Haas, right? Those are the four options. And I think realistically, he's not going to the Ferrari's B team. So he's not going to
Exactly. He's not going there.
not Sauber, Haas, right? He's not going to Haas. So he
Alfa
has Sauber.
Romeo or Stake, basically. He's not going there as well.
Let's call them Sauber or Audi, right? Let's call them Audi. So you have Audi, Williams, and Alpine left. And he's saying he won't go to Williams. Does the guy really want to go to Alpine of all these?
I think he definitely is playing mind games with the press at this point with the media. So obviously, you wouldn't want the media to let you know, media to know of your next move. So definitely, he's trying to put those brakes on those kind of speculation. I'm sure Williams is definitely an option for him now that Red Bull is closed and Mercedes is also seemingly closed. So his strongest option at this point remain Audi and Williams if he wants a somewhat competitive car for 2025 and 6 and beyond. So I can understand why Williams, because they'll still be having the Mercedes partnership for 2025 and 6 and beyond. So maybe
Right.
Williams, under the leadership of James Allen, have sold Carlos Sainz on their project, or are trying to sell him on their project. So that's why the rumors came out earlier this week about him being interested in that position, in that seat. And then
Yep.
you
Yep.
have the Audi rumor. We thought he might not want to go there because they want to be an up and coming project, and Carlos is someone who's looking for a competitive drive right away. So, but considering the situation he is, I think these remain his best options, which is a little sad to see considering the fact that
Right.
he's had such a good season. At this point.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it also feels like Mercedes has been a missed opportunity, right? 2 months ago, we saw Sainz being photographed with Toto and Susan. Susie, what's his wife?
Susie
Um,
Wolf.
Susie Wolf. Yeah, he was photographed with Toto and Susie, and that at the news that point was, basically that Sainz and Mercedes, want to sign a contract, but Mercedes wants him for a 1+1, and Sainz wants a 2+1, right? And I think it really felt that maybe Sainz should have taken the 1+1 at that point because now you have no teams left, right? And Mercedes probably fed up and they don't want to even. I don't. We already know the offer is still on the table right now, right? Um, and even with Audi, right? Like, you know, it's not like Audi and Williams are just waiting for him. I'm pretty sure if Audi gets another driver, right, they will just sign him, right? They will not like. I mean, if Esteban Ocon tells Audi, "I'm coming to you, I sign you for what, 5 years," Audi will like, "Yeah, let's go." Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, let's go, right? And then you have what Carlos Sainz at Alpine. Really, Sainz at Alpine after winning races for Ferrari in the last few years. Yeah, I really feel like Sainz
Yep.
is doing a situation here.
Again, like it's going. I mean, there are rumors that it's going to be revealed before the Spanish Grand Prix, which is pretty soon. So we'll see if there's anything
Yeah,
that comes out by then.
yeah, totally. Yeah, so we are Canada this weekend, and we
I
are
think
Spain
practice
too.
is probably underway right now. If I mean, as we speak,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
sure
practice.
though.
I'm not sure if the hail has stopped things. So yeah, I mean, F1 has live timing charts
Yeah.
on. Yeah, so I
So
think wait, but
does
nobody
seem
has
like
time.
practice is ongoing.
Wait, nobody has any time set though. Times are
Oh,
empty,
okay,
I
no.
guess.
Okay, then I don't know. Probably the hail is causing chaos or
Yeah,
something. But
yeah,
anyway, I
times.
think we should definitely talk about the race in terms of our
Yes,
predictions. I think we've gone on quite a bit on the F1 world of news, so maybe we just have a little more time for some of the
yeah,
predictions. So maybe you go
it's,
first, and I'll take a stab at it.
yeah. It's really been an action-packed week, right? But yeah, I think that's all the F1 news. But yeah, I think Montreal. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. So one thing is obviously weather is going to be a big factor, right? Montreal had a hailstorm some time ago, and it's unclear if practice is even started. So okay, I see Ferrari Street saying still waiting to get on track. Pit exit opens should have opened 2 minutes ago. Okay, but nobody's gone out yet. But yeah, so weather is definitely going to be a big factor this weekend, right? There is rain. There is predictions of rain throughout the weekend as well.
Yeah,
If you look at
there's rain as we
Montreal,
speak as well. So
rain as we
that's the reason
speak.
why cars are not on track.
Exactly. And even if you get Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, there's a good 30, 40, 50, 60% chance of rain throughout the day. So I think given that, it's going to be interesting what happens, right? Again, it's kind of like a street circuit too. Uh, yeah, man.
Ferrari win again? Street
I
circuit, you
think
said?
I would love a Ferrari win. I think okay. I think top three are going to be okay. Hamilton is on track. Okay, fine. He's funny instead out of the corner. Great. But I think top three is going to be. I want to say Lando, but I don't think. I want to say Oscar, but I think Lando with more experience in the rain, or maybe not. I mean, Lando famously lost a race.
He lost it. He lost it. What was that? Baku or Sochi? I don't know. I think it was Sochi.
Yeah, Sochi was leading.
Yeah.
It was same race where Netflix was like, Nikita Mazepin knows the clouds and he came last. Uh, but I think top three is probably going to be a combination of Max, Lando, and Charles, or maybe Max, Oscar, and fuck it, let's say Max, Oscar, and Charles, right? But and obviously Max, that Red Bull is still a very good car, so I think Max is still winning it, but I don't think it's going to be a shoe in like previous races, right? Like previous races, whenever we chatted, it'd be like, oh yeah, Max is winning by 30 seconds. I think that's not going to be the case this weekend, especially if rain completely messes up, track dries up, and then it starts raining again, like Ocon's win, right? 6 pit stops. So, and obviously, 6 pit stops are more danger for Ferrari
You mean
considering
you
the
mean
strategy.
Button?
And like, sorry, Button, yeah. Um, Sorry, yeah. Why did I say Ocon? What the hell was I saying? Button in 2011, yes. But yeah, I think the more pit stops we have, I think it's probably also a danger for Ferrari, considering Ferrari's recent track record uh, around tracks with pit stops and all that. Yeah, I think it's going to be. I hope Charles Leclerc can continue his form from Monaco, and Ferrari can continue their improvements. We have a lot of teams bringing improvement to this race too. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I think it's still I think Max pips Charles. I think McLaren will be third.
Yeah, I think interesting prediction there. But I think if it's dry, I would still say Ferrari has the edge. They do seem like they have something in
Really, Ferrari has
between.
the edge on dry track.
I mean, they were good in Monaco as well, and considering Canada is like a track where you have a mix of high speed and as well as low speed corners. Definitely suits a track like definitely suits some as a team like Ferrari, especially with their current resurgence. So why not promote Ferrari as the new team to
Hey,
beat
let's
at this
go.
point? We've said Red Bull, Max Verstappen so many years now. So let's just change the tune. Let's bring up Ferrari. Let's bring up Charles Leclerc. So I would say Charles Leclerc maybe gets the pole at this point and then also wins this race. So we see
Okay,
something different again. We see something good for F1. And Max Verstappen finishes P2 because he's definitely getting a podium. And one of the McLarens finishes P3. So I don't know which one, but one of them will definitely be in the podium. And Lewis Hamilton and George Russell will not finish P5 and P7.
okay.
So we'll see
Then,
where they finish.
so they started the season 6 and 9, and they've finally come to 5 and 7. Are they improving on that?
So I hope they finish 4 and 6 now.
Or maybe 5 and 6? I think
Yep,
okay.
but
If
but
it's
if it does rain as you said throughout Saturday and Sunday, I think it's just up for grabs at that point. It's going to
yeah,
be we're going to have a mixed grid, so that'll be fun.
right. But so if you say 4 and 6, that means obviously Paris is not in the top three, and maybe not Sainz, and maybe one of Lando and Oscar. So you think a Mercedes beating Oscar, Sainz, and Perez?
I mean, they say they've got upgrades, so let's see how it works. They say Lewis has got the front wing now, and there's a few more things that they've got. So it's just the upgrades that have to work, man. Otherwise, what's the point of getting upgrades if you want to finish in the same position? So we'll
That's
see.
what Ferrari fans have been saying every year. Uh, but okay, more important question is Lewis beating George? George is leading 7-1 this season, right? So is Lewis
I
beating
hope
is 7-2?
I hope it does become 7-2. Lewis's pride is definitely on the line, and he's got the front wing as well, which George had last weekend. So Obviously, he's been saying a lot of things behind the scenes in terms of he might
Yeah,
not win that qualifying battle this season, raising a lot of speculation with regards to whether uh, the team is actively sabotaging his car because
yeah,
he's leaving the team next season. So we don't know
exactly.
what's going on behind the scenes. We'll see
Yeah,
this weekend. It's the driver who's going to speak it out on the track.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, right? Because I think we can both agree that George Russell is nowhere the driver that Lewis Hamilton is, right? In equal measure too, right? I mean, Nico Rosberg was the only guy who would beat Lewis in equal machinery, as he likes to point out again and again. But
Hmm.
George Russell,
Jensen also did. Jensen also did.
yeah. But George Russell, really, like Lewis is going to lose to George freaking Russell again and again and again. Come on, man, what's happening to Lewis?
Yeah, come on, let's go, Lewis. I think you definitely need to wake up and make it
Yeah,
7-2.
like
Come on, don't be a Pakistan and lose to USA. Let's make it 7-2.
I mean, if Lewis's teammate was I don't know Verstappen or Leclerc or somebody like that, I could still see it. But George Russell, really? Like that guy can't keep his car on track. He just crashes into a barrier anytime he has to overtake somebody.
Yeah. So I think let's see how it goes. Canada, always an interesting track. We're gonna have
Yeah.
some fun. I guess that's about it from the stream today.
Yeah, so that's it, folks. On to the Circuit Giles Villeneuve, the 1997 champion, for this weekend. And we'll see you next week back on the stream, and hopefully it's not a snooze fest like Monaco or like a Max Verstappen victory by 30 seconds. Like even if Max, I just hope somebody gives him a fight to the last time, like we saw in what was that Imola, right? When Lando really gave it his all at the end. Yeah,
Yep.
I just want
Yep.
close races, man. I want
Yep.
close races.
And if we keep getting those, it's exciting for F1, and we can finally say F1 is back to where it should belong with multi-team cars fighting against each other again. So, but yeah, till the next stream, everyone, please like this video, share with your friends, share with your family, and keep subscribing to the channel as well. Uh, if you have any questions for us, if you have any comments, just drop them down in the comment section below, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Yep.
And but till the next stream, it's good night from us and enjoy the weekend.
Yep. Enjoy the weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week.